New York City. Some call it the capital of the world or the center of the universe, but all agree it's the world's biggest stage. And today isn't just any day in the city that never sleeps. Today, taxis give way to triathletes and the pounding of 4,000 hearts as they beat out the rhythm of victory. Once a year, on this extraordinary Sunday, swimmers sail a mile down the mighty Hudson River, moving as one fleet. On the highways of Manhattan and the Bronx, four wheels yield to two wheels, and the cyclists who power them, not with gasoline or diesel, but their own internal combustion of muscle and grit. And Central Park, normally teeming with tourists, swells instead with 8,000 feet on the pavement, challenging the legs and lungs of runners as they race towards personal triumph. On this day in New York, sweat is the local currency and determination is the native tongue. On this day, the Big Apple isn't just a metropolis, it's a race course. This day is the 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon. It's Sunday morning in Manhattan. We're along the Hudson River. It's not your typical Sunday morning, as more than 4,000 athletes will take on the challenge to swim, bike, and run their way into Central Park. Morning, everybody. Dave Ragsdale here along with Carla Bruning once again for the Panasonic New York City Triathlon. Carla, we've got a great day set for us, don't we?
Absolutely. Right now, the weather is beautiful in the 70s with a slight breeze, but it is threatening to heat up today. As high as 98 with the heat index, but hopefully not while our athletes are out there. The humidity will be dropping as the day goes on. It's going to be a great day for a race.
It is. Now, we've talked about the more than 4,000 age groupers who will be participating, many of them the challenge just to get to Central Park and the finish line. But we've also got our pros here to duke it out for some money.
That's right. We have an incredible pro field. As you said, 4,000 age groupers. It's a great day for a race in New York City.
You know, New York City provides us with an unbelievable course of swimming, biking, and running. Let's take a closer look at today's course.
Athletes splash down in the Hudson River for a 1,500-meter swim, nearly 1 mile, with the current helping them along the way.
Once inside transition in Riverside Park, they jump on the bikes for a 40K tour of Manhattan and the Bronx. No toll required at the Henry Hudson Bridge. Circling back into Manhattan, no time for touristy sort of views, and back into transition.
From there, they'll run nearly a mile into Central Park, where they have a 10K loop on the park's roads, running through the Harlem Hills and the undulating roads into the finish.
Great look at the course, truly one that only a place like New York City can offer. I think athletes are in for a great adventure today. At the head of the field, we've got some women who are going to be swimming, biking, and running, not only for their lives, but for a bunch of money.
That's right. We have an incredible field of professional women who will be going off of the blocks first with the equalizer format, where the men will be chasing the women to see who crosses that finish line first.
11 minutes and 36 seconds seems like a long time, but it gets very close at the end. Let's take a look at our women's field. Taking a quick look at today's pro women's lineup. Of course, we're going to be keeping our eyes on Sarah Haskins, HELLE FREDERIKSEN, but there's never counting out the Wassner sisters, both Laurel and Rebecca.
It is nearly 5:50 a.m. in Riverside Park in New York City, and the women's professional lineup are getting ready to hit the water.
You know, you can't help but see that look of intensity in each of their eyes, concentrating on the task at hand, taking a quick look down the Hudson, taking perhaps a quick glance at each other, look each other in the eyes. A lot of athletes seem to think you can see what spirit their competitor has if you look them in the eye. So there they are. This is going to be a very fast swim, Carl, almost 2 knots this morning early on. So won't take a lot of effort, but they'll be giving a lot of effort.
The women go off first today in New York City as part of the lifetime equalizer format, where you have the men chasing the women to see who will get to the starting line first.
And they're off. Once again, as you mentioned, with the equalizer format, you know, normal racing of this type, you're racing truly against your gender. But in this case, there's got to be some thoughts in the back of their mind. What's the gap? What's the gap? How close are they? And so they've got to work as hard as possible all the way through.
And also keeping in mind that the current is constantly changing in the Hudson River. So while the women might have 2 knots, the men might have slightly more or slightly less at this time of the morning. And it looks like Sarah Haskins is out in front with Helle Frederiksen right on her heels.
You can draft during the swim. There is a small advantage that allows you to concentrate more on your effort and less on sighting.
And also, these athletes have headed as close to the center of the Hudson River as they are legally allowed to go. That's where the current is going to be just a little bit stronger to help them move down that river.
Women are setting a torrid pace in the swim. It's going to be a lot of great action today.
Athletes come from 40 countries and 44 states to take on the Panasonic New York City Triathlon. Among them are professionals vying for the $30,000 prize purse, age groupers out for personal glory, and even four-legged friends panting on the pavement. Mastering 3 sports, swimming, cycling, and running, is no easy task, but many of these 4,000 triathletes have faced greater challenges in life. Now they're using the sport of triathlon to honor loved ones, motivate their communities, and show the world the metal they're made of. Stay tuned for these stories and more. The 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon is brought to you by Panasonic, proud to be the title sponsor of the New York City Triathlon. Shop now at Panasonic.com.
These new Panasonic wings are amazing to train with.
My favorite song to train to is Power by Kanye West.
Big Rings by Future and Drake.
My House, Flow Rida.
Lincoln Park, Numb.
The sound's really clear, but it's nice because I can still kind of hear people around me, which is good.
It's good. There's a lot of bass.
I love the way that they mold to your ear. These are super comfortable. I love it.
They feel really nice.
Crank that up.
I feel like I'm in a studio.
Yes, for sure. I would definitely train with these headphones.
I would train in these. Yeah. I would definitely train in these.
Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Enter the 2017 Panasonic New York City Triathlon. The registration drawing opens Tuesday, November 1st at www.nyctri.com. Then get ready to swim, bike, and run next July in the 2017 Panasonic New York City Triathlon. See you in the Hudson.
Welcome back to the Panasonic New York City Triathlon. We rejoin the women in the waters of the Hudson. It looks as though Sarah Haskins and Helle Frederiksen have established the fact that it's going to be the two of them battling it out for the first spot and hopefully the first spot across the line as well.
And today we do have a $500 preem for the first swimmer out of the water. So maybe that's a little extra motivation for these ladies right now.
We see just a few pros here, but look along the seawall. Thousands of age groupers ready for their moment as well as our pro men get warmed up along the seawall. They're still thinking, is it 11:36 yet? Let's take a closer look at our men's field. Of course, in the middle, Ben Collins, Cam Dye. They have duked it out here in Manhattan and across the Olympic racing world so many times. These guys know every intricacy about the other. Going to be a great day of racing between those two.
All eyes will be on Ben Collins, who's walking down the gangplank right now. He is the 2-time defending champion here in New York City, but you can never count out Cameron Dye, who finished second here last year. Unfortunately, had a flat the year before. These two, it's going to be a battle to the finish.
I think I heard Ben humming Hail Columbia, but I'm not certain. Local guy went to school up in the north part of Manhattan. They make their way down and again thinking, are we going to start already? The men, like the women, set themselves as far right on the start barge as possible, hoping to get as much of the current as they can. They'll hope to take 30 seconds or so out of the equalizer during the swim, but they got 1,500 meters to do that. They're under the starter's gun.
Athletes, check your mark.
And the men are off, 11:36, and there they go. We've got a small field, about 6 or 7 guys, similar to the women's field. They will get sorted out a bit. You can see they're all hugging the right line. Beautiful morning in Manhattan, the Palisades of New Jersey. course, we're the only ones that see that right now. You know, the athletes, they're focused forward.
All eyes on the water and the race ahead. And of course, Cam Dye out in front, no surprise there. He's probably the strongest swimmer in the field and in many Olympic fields out there.
You know, Ben and Cam, they battled it out all the way. Let's get to know more about these two athletes.
Last year was your first time coming to New York, right?
It was the second time, but I flatted right at the beginning of the year before.
Right.
So yeah, basically it was the first try. Came out of the water next to each other.
Ben Collins leads the men into teams.
Biked the whole thing together, ran basically the whole thing together. It was a good battle. I mean, that's what racing's about.
I was just trying to stay with Cam for most of that run last year. I was clawing my way back to him. I don't know what happened at the end. It came in my favor, but...
I mean, I tried to surge a couple times.
Cam trying to make a bit of a move. You know, it's the hunter and the hunted.
I mean, to his credit, he held on to every single one of them, and then the last one, I basically just popped myself.
And it looks like Ben Collins has pulled away from Cam Dye as he...
It's an interesting dynamic when you got two guys that swim really well and bike really well. So when we're the ones pushing each other, the run is a bit of a hanging on kind of adventure.
Ladies and gentlemen, second year in a row, third time, Ben Collins, your winner.
I was pretty jazzed leaving the race last year, I thought it was really fun racing like that.
It would have been better to come out on the other side of it, but I mean, anytime.
So maybe I was happier.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some. We'll see what goes down, but I would expect a very similar battle.
Back in the water, Ben Collins wearing number 1, Cam Dye wearing race number 2. The question is, what order will they finish? You know, Carla, looking quickly at the stroke, we looked at the women before, more that windmill style. Cam, an All-American, former All-American from the University of Iowa, more of a classic swimmer, moving along very quickly.
And right behind him is Tom Eichelberg, and behind him, Ben Collins, who we will have our eyes on, and Spencer Popeson in the water. Now back to the women, who are further down the Hudson River.
And yet, Haskins and Frederiksen right there, nose to toes. They're driving all the way down. Again, these women have raced against each other many times. They know the strengths. Helle may be thinking, you know what? I'm going to let Sarah go ahead. The 500 I can deal without. I just want to stay on her heels and do my work when we get on land.
And Cam Dye is putting a serious dent in the field here on the swim. No one really in distance of him, within 10 seconds of him at this point.
Amazing morning in the Hudson. You can see they've sort of taken 2 lines. Wow, it's just, you know, you can't get a sense of how quickly they're going as the camera keeps following them in the action. If you were standing on the seawall, you might have a trouble walking as quickly as they are swimming, if you think what that might be.
And back to the women, it is still Sarah Haskins and Helle Frederiksen out in front. Now, Sarah Haskins has had an incredible racing year this year. She's won 3 races so far, where this is Helle's first race in nearly 15 months.
An athlete of Frederiksen's capabilities must be thrilled to be back in the race scene. 15 months off is forever. We're going to see what she's got.
Swimming, cycling, and running. Training for a triathlon requires hours of dedication in the pool, on the bike, and on the road. But many of these triathletes are no strangers to blood, sweat, and tears. They've been through it all and more. And now they're using the Panasonic New York City Triathlon to inspire and motivate the world around them. Later in the show, we'll meet Fab Munoz, competing in his first major triathlon to raise funds and awareness for teenage cancer patients like his late son, Alex. David Farrell, who ferries his son, Blake, through all 3 stages of the race. And Stephen Greenberg and Paul Scheller, 2 streakers who have tackled the New York City Triathlon each of its 16 years. But first, say hello to Amanda Parsons, a Bronx doctor who has turned to triathlon to inspire her patients and encourage them to take up the sport and take control of their own health.
My name is Amanda Parsons. I'm a physician at Montefiore Health System. As a physician, I have to say that my training mostly focused on curing disease, but we didn't spend a lot of time thinking about how to prevent people from being sick. So that's why this is a particular interest to me. A lot of the work you do to prepare for a triathlon really helps you lead a healthier lifestyle. This to me is health, and this is what I would love to see rather than waiting till people get sick and need all the kinds of procedures and medications that we've been working on. So for me, the New York City Tri is a pretty incredible experience because one, it's so close to home and so convenient, but it's also an attempt to create this pretty phenomenal experience in the middle of a really busy city. What I'm personally looking forward to is getting out of the water and getting on the bike. Actually, the bike ride is my ride to work. Moshulu Parkway leads right up to Montefiore Hospital where I work. And I'm really looking forward to finishing and congratulating all my friends who are doing it. And it reminds you that if you set goals, even hard ones, and you keep working, you get a lot of satisfaction from accomplishing them.
The Panasonic New York City Triathlon is brought to you by Volley, premium cycling apparel made here in the USA, proud sponsor of the Panasonic New York City Triathlon. Men's Health is thrilled to be partnering with Lifetime Triathlon Series. We share a strong commitment to healthy living, and this is a perfect opportunity to bring that to life as the sponsor of the 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon Sports and Fitness Expo. Men's Health is the brand for active, successful, professional men who want greater control over their physical, mental, and emotional lives.
Stay with us for more stories from New York City and the Panasonic New York City Triathlon. As our 4,000 age group triathletes are ready to hit the Hudson, it's the culmination of a week of fun-filled activities for the whole family at the 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon. More than a swim, bike, and run around the Big Apple, the Panasonic New York City Triathlon is a weekend-long festival of racing. The Diaper Derby dares 30 future triathletes to master the front crawl, baby style, in a 10-foot race known as the slowest 2 minutes in sports. At the Gildan Underwear Run, 500 revelers scamper in their skivvies through a 1.7-mile race around Central Park. They leave their timing chips, racing gear, and clothes at home to get their run on in their bedroom best, bearing nearly all in a celebration of summer in the city.
Gildan is the world's largest t-shirt company. What better way to tie it all together with an underwear event where we have a lot of fun and we take home a t-shirt.
Here we are back in the Hudson at the swim exit. Our leaders, Haskins and Frederiksen, out in just about 12 minutes and 40 seconds, neck and neck. We saw Sarah kind of trip up a little bit, but her legs are working just fine right now. About a 600-meter run from swim exit into their transition area. You can see they're starting to peel off those speed skins that they have. Every second counts.
And in the transition zone here, this is the part of the race that these athletes will train just as much as any part. How quickly can they get from the swim and out onto the bike?
Helmet, glasses, off go the speed skin. The shoes are in the pedals. If you're wondering why are they not putting their shoes on, and there they go, unracking the bike for the run. There's a specified mountain line. ERIN Jones in the mix. She wasn't too far behind, just about 10 seconds out of the water, but a good run will always allow you to make up the gap, and they're about to jump on their trusty steeds.
And as they go into the bike portion, this is the largest section of the race. It'll take about half of the time that these athletes are racing. So it's a section of the course where they can really make a big dent on the competition.
Yeah, athletes, if you haven't tried that shoes and the pedal thing at home, don't try it in a race. It's trickier than it looks. Down at the exit once again, Cam Dye out of the water. The equalizer gap is just under 11 minutes. He's managed to take close to 40 seconds off. There's Tom Eichelberg. These guys are both right around 12 minutes, 12:15. Again, not a big differential. The current makes a lot. And there's our man wearing number 1, Ben Collins, trying to make up as much time as possible. The guys doing the transition thing just like our women, getting as much off as quickly as possible. This is really a science, isn't it?
It is absolutely a science. As with the rest of the race, in transition, every second counts, especially in this equalizer format where the men aren't out in front. They're chasing the women, and there is $3,000 on the line for the person who crosses that finish line first.
As our men head out onto the 40K bike course, let's take a moment to meet David and Blake, a true inspiration.
My name's Dave Farrell. This is my son Blake Farrell. He's 19 years old, and we will be competing in the New York City Triathlon on Sunday. Hang on, bud. Blake was born with a very rare genetic disorder. It's called a deletion of the STXBP1 gene. We're always looking for ways to keep him involved, keep him active, and keep him in the community. 7 years ago, I decided I was going to take Blake in a triathlon. We've probably competed in 35 or 40 triathlons.
Go Blakey!
We have an inflatable boat. We have a special racing wheelchair. Okay, that's it. All right, let's hit it. When we're out on the race course, he's very content. He's very excited. He's got this big smile on his face, and he loves the movement. It's probably one of the most exciting things that I can do for him, is to give him that experience. You don't have to be unhappy, and you don't have to feel like you're burdened. And don't get me wrong, it's difficult from time to time. Everybody can be accepted in a typical world, and there's a place out there for everybody. And that was really one of the big reasons that we did this and continue to do this. I'm looking forward to getting Blake out in New York City, giving him a nice tour of the city on Sunday.
David and Blake are an inspiration to everyone who meet them, and we have more inspirational stories coming up here at the 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon. The 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon is brought to you by Gildan. Every thread counts. Accenture.
So here at the New York City Triathlon, we have a lot of Accenture volunteers who are also helping with the Challenge Athletes Foundation. What the volunteers do to help facilitate the Challenge Athletes is really kind of in the transition points to make it easier for them so that they can have a great race. Pretty inspiring to see people of all sorts of abilities and walks of life to be able to kind of come here. It's not just about the job, it's really about making a difference in the world and your community.
Stick around for more fast-paced action from the 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon after the break.
Welcome back to the action at the 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon. With both our men and women professionals out on the bike course, let's take a quick look back at what took place so far. Our women, of course, started early on this morning into the waters of the Hudson and swam as hard as possible.
They had an 11-minute and 36-second start on the men, who were chasing them down in the lifetime equalizer format. Of course, all eyes were on Cameron Dye and Ben Collins as they hit the Hudson.
The men had a great race. Cam Dye, the former All-American, of course, showed everybody what kind of swimmer he is as he led the field all the way down the 1,500-meter stretch, making his way out. Little sea legs kicked into Sarah Haskins, but they quickly turned to the running legs we know she has.
Sarah Haskins was first out of the water and first out of transition and onto the bike. Let's take a minute to get to know our pre-race favorite.
I've been racing professionally for 12 years. My career highlights are qualifying for the Olympic team in 2008. I love to race, so I'm pretty calm and chill outside the race course, but once you get onto race course, I really like to race and be competitive. You really have to primarily focus on yourself for race day. However, HELLE FREDERIKSEN, she's won a lot of big races, so she'll be one to look out for. All part of the experience is getting through that finish line because it's a challenge. If you're in the lead, you might have time to celebrate and take the high fives, and I do like to enjoy that moment if it's not a sprint finish. If it's a sprint finish, then it's gung as hard as you can to the finish line and see who breaks the tape. I have had a very long career. I feel fortunate that I have been able to do this as a career. I have learned how important it is to keep my body balanced. I have a little girl who's 3, so that's kind of added a whole new element. It's tough. I mean, I love what I do. I love racing. At the same time, when I leave her for races, I I miss her, I feel guilty. It's amazing how fast children grow, and it's getting to the point that I can understand her on the phone. So that makes it a little easier to be able to have maybe 2-minute conversations with her. That's about as long as it lasts. Oh, goodness. At the end of the day, I feel like I can set just that example for her to be a strong, confident woman, and she can look back on this when she's older and have a sense of pride in showing what mommy's done.
We rejoin the action out on the West Side Highway. There's Sarah Haskins, our women's leader. Helle Frederiksen, much like in the swim right behind her. Haskins and Frederiksen, two of the best women's athletes in this non-draft legal Olympic distance racing. Cam Dye, meanwhile, putting his stamp on the bike like he always does.
You know, this is a lot like last year's race, except instead of Ben Collins out in front on the bike, it's Cam Dye. But Ben is still back there in the race with Tom Eichelberg in second.
Interesting from the women's standpoint, we have two women who Sarah's never raced in New York. I think Helle, it's been a few years. Meanwhile, our guys, they've been here numerous times. So there's familiarity on one side and sort of a new sensation on another side, but still, you just put the hammer down and go. Some beautiful scenery here. The Hudson in the background. Cam, look at that ride. While we can enjoy shots of the Hudson in the background, these athletes eyes forward, hammering the gears as hard as possible. Probably moments where he's well in excess of 30, 35 mile an hour. There's a lot of hills on this course and moving along very quickly. Cam Dye knows the bike is where he catches up with the equalizer format against our women's field.
And Ben Collins here maybe has a bit of a hometown advantage once out on the bike in the run. He went to Columbia University. He would know every single inch of these undulating hills. This course climbs about 1,500 feet in elevation and then back down.
The gap in the men's race may be a bit more than we see the gap in the women's race. They've never been out of each other's sight. Frederiksen, that draft legal distance in the background, not giving one bit away. Haskins happy to take the pace.
As these professional athletes power through the bike course, motivated by their will to win, there are thousands of age group athletes behind them who each have their own motivation. Let's meet Fab Munaz, who's found inspiration in the most unthinkable of tragedies.
It was just another Monday. He went in for a routine MRI. He had been getting headaches. The doctor had said, just rule it out. I was actually standing at this spot right here when I got my phone call. They found a 3-centimeter mass in his brain. The doctor had said he needs to go straight to emergency. At that point, you knew instantly that your world was changing. They operated on his brain. He needed to learn to speak again. He needed to learn to walk again.
He knew his odds were wonderful. He had 85% chance of cure.
His nickname was Champ since he was a toddler. He battled through this like a true champ. He never complained. He was 1 week from completing his treatment. We had the balloons and the celebrations all set. We really thought he was going to recover. The cancer spread in his brain, but now it was also in his spine.
He was so optimistic.
Thank you.
Yay! A few days later, he went to Great Adventure. That was him. He would live in the moment.
When the disease came back, it came back so aggressive.
He looked at his doctor and asked how long. She said days to weeks to months. The next day, he's telling us that he wants to start a charity, that he wanted to help other teens in the hospital. Teenagers know what's happening to them. There's not a childlike innocence there. They understand what they're facing. To be able to help distract them from their discomfort and from their situation is the goal of our fund.
The Alexander Munoz Memorial Fund. When we had the opportunity to become sponsors in the triathlon, we really jumped on it. I'd never been involved in any endurance type of activity. Not a runner, not a cyclist, and certainly not a swimmer.
To watch him train, he trains 6 days a week.
My wife and I, we live with tremendous pain. Strenuous activity has helped with the stress. Now they're all cheering me on and they're all supporting me. I'm nervous as hell for the triathlon to come on Sunday. I talk to Alex on a regular basis. Our cemetery is very close to where I run. And I stop by and I visit him and I talk to him. And I tell him how my training's going. I have no doubt that he'll be by my side every step. I see him smiling. I hear him laughing. He's good with this.
Alex would be proud.
What does it mean to you to be a part of an event like this in his memory?
My God, it's overwhelming. It's incredibly exciting. The atmosphere is charged, and I won't deny it. I'm a little nervous, but I got to say, I want to take a moment out there while I'm in the water and look over and just take it in, even just for a few seconds, and just enjoy for just a few seconds and get back to business.
Have a great race out there today.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned for more incredible stories at the Panasonic New York City Triathlon after the break.
The Panasonic New York City Triathlon is brought to you by Stages, the official power meter of the Lifetime Triathlon Series. Designed by cyclists, powered by you. Welcome back to the Panasonic New York City Triathlon. A surge towards the end of the bike has put Helle Frederiksen just feet ahead of Sarah Haskins. They both make their way in. And again, Carla, as we spoke of, transition time again. This is going to be much quicker, but still equally crucial.
As the ladies switch off of their bikes and into their racing shoes, the run is where this race really can get difficult. The temperature is heating up today in Central Park. The hills are unrelenting. And Helle Frederiksen is first out of transition.
I would imagine that Cam Dye, our men's leader, would love to know that these women are this close together, because that makes a lot of difference for his race. Still, he knows he is the best cyclist of all. He's going to figure out how much time have I taken back on the bike. Look at women stride by stride as they come across 72nd Street. Update from the course, Dye has managed to take that differential, the equalizer differential, down to about 3 minutes. He certainly has the ability. 3 minutes and 6 miles, that's a 30-second per mile differential, but he's got to run fast, and they've got to run not as fast to make up for that. He's got his work cut out for him, but it's still possible.
It looks like we have our answer from Sarah Haskins. She is saying, no, I'm not going to let them catch me. It looks like she has made the definitive move of the race so far, pulling away from Helle Frederiksen on the run. She is a strong runner, ran cross country and track at the University of Tulsa.
Ben Collins, now he's made up some time on the bike, but he's got even more work to do. Cam Dye makes his way across 72nd Street. When they hit the park, they're 1 mile down and they got a little over 5 to go. Central Park, as always, open for business no matter what. Triathlon, marathon weekend, doesn't matter. People are out there enjoying themselves, probably thinking, wow, that young lady, she's moving along pretty quickly. Frederiksen looking great. That 15-month layoff, yeah, I don't see any of it. Cam Dye, once again, thinking, do I have the time? Do I have the legs? Where are they?
And this is the part of the race where that red line effect really comes into play. In the Olympic format, there is no time for messing around. It is pedal to the metal the entire way.
While our coverage so far has covered all of our two-legged competitors, let's face it, the race is going to the dogs with our Animal Medical Center Doggy Dash.
I'm a veterinarian at the Animal Medical Center. We are taking care of the dog participants in the Doggy Dash, which is a 5-mile race, part of the New York City Triathlon. Our goal is basically to keep the dogs healthy, make sure their temperatures are within normal limits, and that they basically have a safe race.
The Panasonic New York City Triathlon is brought to you by
Animal Medical Center. Advanced treatment, research, education, and devotion since 1910.
TRANSAMERICA, official sponsor of the Lifetime Triathlon Series. Welcome back to the 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon, where race leader Sarah Haskins has thrown down a challenge. Catch me if you can. So far, no one has.
Making her way down that final hill, she'll make a right on 72nd Street. She'll start to hear the finish line. Notice there's not a moment where she even tilts her head back to look. You look back, you know you're catching them. HELLE FREDERIKSEN having a great race, but I don't think she's got it today to catch Haskins, but she's probably also thinking, where's that guy behind us? And here she comes. First time in Manhattan, first time at the Panasonic New York City Triathlon, and your winner, Sarah Haskins.
You see that smile spreading across her face. She's kind of fighting it as she's still working into that finish line, but she has every reason to smile.
For the first time in the history of the Lifetime Equalizer format racing, a young lady takes it across the line. That $3,000 bonus is hers.
Meanwhile, in the men's race, Cam Dye is still out on the run course, making his way into the finish line. No, he will not catch the ladies in front of him, but he's put in a strong showing, second place last year. Looks like he'll take the prize this year.
Speaking of second place, a very happy HELLE FREDERIKSEN grabs second spot after a too long layoff. A hug from the champ.
And here comes men's champion Cam Dye into the finish line, second in 2015, dropped out in 2014. This has got to feel good to finish on top of the podium in 2016.
Your Panasonic New York City Triathlon champion. And here's our man wearing number 1, but finishing number 2. He's got a handful of wins here, but today he's going to have to settle for runner-up. Ben Collins brings it in.
Some incredible racing from our pros today. Let's take a look at the women's results.
Quick look at our final results. Haskins at top, going under 158. Frederiksen just about 24 seconds behind. And Erin Jones grabs the bronze medal spot. Here with our winner, first across the line in the equalizer format, Sarah Haskins. What a way to debut in New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right?
For sure. It's a very challenging course, but it was a lot of fun out there today. I had HELLE right there with me, pushing me pretty much the whole time, and that really is fun because it gets the most out of you on race day, and it really just pushes me to the limit. I was leading probably about 80% of the bike right maybe the last 100 meters into transition. HELLE went right by me, so I exited the bike second. So she had a little gap on me coming out of transition. I caught her at mile 1 and just made a little surge. And then I knew she was kind of right behind me just based on cheers and splits. And around mile 4, I decided to push it a little bit more, and that's where I opened up a little bigger gap and kind of could cruise it on end.
Topping the podium is Cameron Dye in 1:48.30. Behind him, Ben Collins coming in at 1:50 and change. And in the third spot, Spencer Popeson.
Here with our top 2 guys, Cam Dye, Ben Collins. A little switcheroo in the placements. First of all, Cam taking the title but not getting the girls. What's up?
Yeah, well, I mean, they were fast. I mean, Sarah and HELLE, they had a great race between themselves, and I think you can tell a lot from last year when we were able to battle the whole way and we got the equalizer, and this year they were super tight the whole way. I think that makes a big difference, having somebody same gender real tight to race the whole way.
Ben Collins taking second spot today, a man who's been at the top. It's tough, this kind of racing, when you're chasing somebody down and you don't know where they are.
Yeah, you really have to, this is one of those races that even though the swim is short, it's a swimmer's race. And you really have to push hard from the front. If you're not there at the beginning of the race, you're lost. People don't come back from behind here. And you know, I didn't have that high end today to stay with Cam and let him get up the road a little bit. It was just, you know, that was kind of the day for me. I wish we could have battled it out like last year, but the legs just weren't there.
The obligatory champagne shower for our winners, whether you want it or not. A lot of races here in New York City by those athletes, but hey, let's stop for a moment and meet some folks who have not missed one New York City Triathlon.
Hi, I'm Paul Scheller. I'm up here from Miami, Florida for my 16th triathlon.
And I'm Steven Greenberg. I'm a born and bred New Yorker. They have numbers for old guys? Both of us have competed 16 years in a row. You were how old when you started?
33.
And I was 54.
All
16. I'm very competitive. I travel all over the country to do races, from Miami to Malibu. But this is the Big Apple, and we put on the best race. It's highly competitive, and it's just a great esprit de corps.
Well, the worst part of tomorrow is the 4:00 a.m. alarm clock. After that,
gets easier.
Running after you've been swimming is tough. Trying to get to your bike, jumping on your bike while you're slippery wet from the Hudson isn't easy.
I feel great. Had a great swim, 16-minute mile.
But then once you get your legs moving, you're on the highway, things feel good.
I think one of the great parts about this race is it's open for everybody. We're off on the bike. There are people all sizes, ages, competing at their own level. All right, see you out there, Ray. For me, this is my Super Bowl. Here's the number 16.
Here's the number 16.
Stephen, congratulations on your 16th New York City Triathlon. How was it out there today?
This is exhilarating and humbling. 16 years in a row. I don't know if I have another 16, but I'll try. I'll definitely be here next year. It's a great race. People just spear you on. And the younger guys, when they see my age on my back, 70, they're like, wow.
Approximately the last 8 years, I've been the medical director. I'm a partner at Manhattan Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Group. This is my life. This is what I really like to do. We've got a keen interest, a group of physicians that are like-minded, that understand the needs of athletes, and we know how to take care of them. We know how to get them back. We're not of the old mindset of if it hurts, don't do it. We try to modify what they need to do, and we get them back as quickly as possible.
The Panasonic New York City Triathlon is brought to you by Manhattan Orthopedic, providing orthopedic care to the greater New York City area. Manhattan Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Group. Dr. Cool, official chemical-free cooling apparel of the Panasonic New York City Triathlon.
Racing in the dog days of summer, the Dr. Cool Chill Sport Cooling Towel provides an instant chill. Wet it, wring it, and snap it to reduce the towel's temperature up to 30% lower than skin temps.
Oh,
How's that feel?
just what I needed.
Made with Cool Core technology, Dr. Cool's Chill Sport Cooling Towel is reusable and chemical-free to keep you cool as the weather heats up.
This is cool.
Stay tuned. The Panasonic New York City Triathlon will be back after this. Hundreds of smiling athletes will cross behind us across that much sought-after finish line here in Central Park. Their day complete, many still to go, and really what a day it's been.
It's been an incredible day. The weather hasn't been as much of a factor,
Nope.
thankfully. And we've met some incredible athletes from everyday age groupers who've come through tragedy and personal triumph to that amazing professional finish.
The hopes that they have before they start the race, many of them fulfilled. Maybe not easy, maybe not as tough as they thought, but they made it all the way through to the finish line. It's been a great day, hasn't it?
It has, and we have to give a shout out to our winner today. The first woman to win in the equalizer format here in New York City. Congratulations.
Sarah Haskins, yeah, the beauty is, she said, I wasn't even thinking about that till like the last mile. So that's a real athlete. It's been a great day here in New York at the Panasonic New York City Triathlon. For Carla Bruning, I'm Dave Ragsdale. We'll see you in transition. The 2016 Panasonic New York City Triathlon is brought to you by Panasonic, proud to be the title sponsor of the New York City Triathlon. Shop now at Panasonic.com. TRANSAMERICA, official sponsor of the Lifetime Triathlon Series.
Stages, the official power meter of the Lifetime Triathlon Series. Designed by cyclists, powered by you. Volet, premium cycling apparel made here in the USA. Proud sponsor of the Panasonic New York City Triathlon.
Accenture.
Animal Medical Center. Advanced treatment, research, education, and devotion since 1910. Manhattan Orthopedic. Providing orthopedic care to the greater New York City area. Manhattan Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Group.
Gildan. Every thread counts.
Dr. Cool. Official chemical-free cooling apparel of the Panasonic New York City Triathlon.